This is a brutal one. Brutal. Brutal, brutal, brutal. Alright. If the way in which the nows of today collapse represent this picture that I've talked about before, not this picture, but I've talked about the ways in which the nows of today collapse. The nows of my life back to 10 years old collapse like this. And I can't say why. It's ridiculous to me that the prophets, the overlords, have driven me to this video today. I hope I have enough time to get to what I want to. I won't. But I'll get where they want me. And I have to trust them, whether or not we're all coalescent. But there is a coalescence which will remain, and there's a coalescence which will perish. I will gladly marry myself to the coalescence that perishes if the true coalescence that remains. The collapses of the nows of not just today, but the last very, very long while, back to at least when I was 10 and even further. So, what I'm doing is, I'm calling back toward when I was 10. Because I was a huge Kids Incorporated fan when I was a kid. We all remember Fergie of Kids Incorporated fame. So that'll be my musical accompaniment. I don't know what this playlist has because I haven't listened to it. Stacey Ferguson. Monster Squad. Bear with me. Bear with me. Bear with me. I don't know why they want this one, but I'm doing it. He try advise me all the time. He talked to me about my new found lady. He says she just no good. She all around the neighborhood. This relates back to my things collapsing upon the moment and ridiculous coalescences.
Nope, I ain't getting younger or stronger. It's true. Maybe I won't post this, I don't know. I've been counting my smokes the last few days. I counted yesterday's 26, the day before 22, the day before that, yesterday was Saturday, Friday. The day before that was Thursday, 28 and a half. Yeah. Today, we're closer to the pack and a half, but it's less than the 2 packs I've been smoking.
How are we going to spread the word around? Moving in, making my connection. Something about feeling in the air.
Tall. Alright, so this relates back to like I had that like Legally Blonde video with the SE type thing. This relates to that. I'm gonna go through it real quick because I got something else to go to. But what I was trying to do with this is because it has to do with affine geometry, and affine geometry doesn't necessarily have to be like square like this, but I thought it might like ease my ease my complications, ease my computations. And what I was trying to do, or what I am trying to do, is like if I only have a squared, like if I'm trying to find the square root of a number and the length of a square root of a number, like there's many ways to do that unless you're dealing with a quote-unquote real number or a rational number or whatever. But if I'm just given a line segment and I want to find the square root, then like if I erase the a, my thought was if I erase the a in this affine geometry deal where you got, you know, this type of deal and this type of deal. And this is all N.J. Weilberger stuff from the University of South Wales, Australia, motherfucking most famous person in the world that people don't understand is the most famous person in the world yet, but maybe not the most famous, but he's gonna be like Archimedes, Plato, like he's gonna smash the whole thing within the next 100 to 1,000 years, you know? Anyway. I figured if I got rid of my A and I do the geometry right and I make essentially like my A squared my A, and I did a lot of pages on it and I'm wrong about a lot. I'm mostly wrong about everything. But like trying to find the root of a number, and the length, and then using like a combination between like rational trigonometry, affine geometry, and just Cartesian like lines. Like, so everyone says that root 2 is irrational, but what if it was like rational in some crazy way? What if it were some fraction that was like 11,953 over whatever, you know, like something like that with like so many digits over so many digits, and like in base 10 it's really confusing. But like what if root 2 is rational in a different base, kind of like how how like 0.3 repeating in base 10 is 1/3. So that's an infinite fraction, but it's a repeating infinite fraction, so it's quote unquote rational according to our understanding of Pythagoreanism, never mind Ptolemism, never mind. Apollonius, Apple, Apollo, Apple. But like, what if, because in base 12, 1/3 isn't a repeating fraction, it's 0.4. So like when you're dealing with different base systems, like as you go from 1 up, 1 in base 1 is the same as 1 in base 2, is the same as 1 in base 3, is the same as 1 in base 4, is the same as 1 in base 5. But 0.1 in base 1 is different than 0.1 in base 2, 0.1 in base 3, 0.1 in base 4, 0.1 in base 5. Like, those are different. So what if that has to do with root 2? What if you found a base, or like a pyramidal base system? What if there was a base system where every decimal represented a different base? And what if root 2 were rational in that way? Anyway, that's my whole idea with this. And like, I found this little point here where it looked as though I might have been able to find a Cartesian line to define the point where I could then trace back to A using affine geometry. But as it turned out, I don't know. I can't really follow my train of thought from a few days ago, but we'll notice like 11:30, this was my whole deal, 11:30, blah, blah, blah. So one of the things about affine geometry, how it relates to rational trigonometry as it relates to the parameterization of a circle, as that relates to the inverse function. Right. So I was working on this back at 11:30. And where the heck is it? I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to find it. Shit, where is it? Maybe it's back over there. Not sure how much time I have. Yeah, and that's another interesting thing which has to do with Eudoxus and Heraclides and how Eudoxus smashed Plato. But Heraclides, which is related to Heraclitus, Plato challenged people to come up with a better system of the cosmos, and Eudoxus did it. His student, Heraclides, which is phonetically essentially equivalent, or like instead of like being equal or congruent, is kind of equal or congruent. Like the equal sign with a similar slash over it. Like, so far as I know, like so far as Grecian philosophy goes, like Heraclides, phonetically almost congruent with Heraclitus, was the first person who suggested that the Earth was spinning, which described the motion of the stars. That doesn't come up a lot. Heraclides. That all goes back to Heraclitus, Michelangelo, Raphael, the School of Athens. I can't remember what its original name was. Never mind the Disputation. the disputation of the disputation, which is all in Raphael, which, by the way, I believe was one of those two paintings was completed the same year that Martin Luther made his first trip to Rome, which was one of the things that informed him to protest. And in the disputation, there's a big old muscular dude with a big fat book open, pointing at it, with a Fibonaccian figure looking over it excitedly. And that big buff figure with a spread open book is the iconic historical figure of Martin Luther. And Martin Luther wasn't famous or known when he made that painting. It's a prophecy. Today I was watching Good Will Hunting. My phone that I'm recording on right now has been losing battery power even when I have it hooked up to the electric. Even when I have it hooked up to the electric, my phone has been losing power for the last couple weeks. Except for today, when I rented, I didn't buy it on YouTube, I rented it on YouTube. Good Will Hunting. And it stayed at 100% the whole movie. That was only one of the this many conjunctions that told me I had to make this video today, which perplexes me because I can't even begin to describe how today collapsed. But I can't. Well, I can understand one reason why I had to do this today. The other reason I can't. For the information, I can't understand because I feel like I have nothing to say. But for, like, I more or less developed a hernia a couple weeks ago at work. I was climbing on roof ladders and like moving planks and stuff, and I weigh like 140 pounds. And I'm moving like, when I move a lot of planks and ladders, it's hard for me. Like the guys I work with are so much bigger and stronger than me for the most part. At least the ones who move big ladders. There's some guys who work with me who are smaller than me and stuff. But usually they're like working inside and stuff, and I'm not saying they're not strong enough to do it, not at all. The way I see it, everyone I know is stronger than me, like in every single way imaginable, but and not just the prophets, anything, like the muddiest little dog, the anything is like bigger and stronger than me. That's how I pretty much see it. I'm pretty sure I'm right, but anyway, I kind of more or less developed a hernia, and plus I've been mowing down on like fake like tofu burgers, like tofurkey burgers, which are fucking delicious, but they're probably not the best for you. But I've been mowing down on those. I've been eating French fries, fucking crackers, all this shit, salt. My teeth are rotting out. One day my teeth hurt. One day my fucking gut hurts. I'm like, do I have a hernia? Do I have a kidney stone? Like, what the fuck, like, how many tapeworms do I got? Like, I'm completely fucked by the way I treat myself, though. Like I said, I've been counting my smokes the last couple days, and today I decided to I bought some cheap vodka, some Pop-Off vodka that was on sale, $6.99, normally $8.99. The 40% alcohol Pop-Off was still $8.99, but the 50% was $6.99, so I bought that. And I tried figuring out, like, measuring it out in a quarter cup. I had to look it up online, like how many ounces is in a shot, and then so like how many actual ounces of alcohol is in like a 16-ounce regular beer has like 0.8 ounces of alcohol, and like so I was like, well, if I have like 2/3 or 3/4 or 1/2 of a 1/4 cup of 50% alcohol, it roughly equals a pounder of beer. So I've had about six 6 drinks of that. But looking at the bottle, which I actually did breeze by, I made a point. I made a point to breeze by it as I walked downstairs and upstairs, but that's normally how much I would have put into one drink. So I'm still an absolute despicable wreck. But I'm making an account for it. And what we measure, we have some capacity to control. Anyway, what I'm trying to get to with all this is that, and I have to find that folder. Though I will say, since I was talking about Good Will Hunting, Mini Driver in Good Will Hunting sure as hell looks a lot like fucking Mona Lisa. Just saying. Also, it's worth noting that they did mention Ramanujan in that text, and I was watching a Matt Parker video where they were talking about the Ramanujan weeks ago. You have no reason to believe me that these dates are accurate, but I wouldn't lie. My life is too much of a wreck to fucking lie. I'll hold back truth sometimes if I feel like it protects the innocent. But anyway, I'm trying to find where I came up. I came up with a formula. I came up with a formula that approximates the, yeah, there we go, we're getting there. I came up with a formula that approximates the, let's see. I came up with a formula that approximates the perimeter of a I came up with a that approximates the perimeter of a yeah, it's somewhere in here. Approximates the perimeter of a ellipse. And it's a little bit, this has something to do with it. I can't remember if this is it or not. Like, it takes me a long time to get into something, and once I let it go to go do something else, I completely forget it, and then it takes me a long time to get back into it. But I guess what I consider a novel approach is that I took the ellipse as being a slanted circle on a plane. So I tried to associate that plane in a square root slanted. So like if we take the area of a plane but then slant it in 3 dimensions, I tried to create a proportion where that area, or where that perimeter versus the circle perimeter is correspondent. I found it was a little bit off, so then I multiplied. It was a little bit off, so I tried to associate a parabola with the offness to creep back up on that error. This is the most dumbest thing I've ever done. But 30 plus years, I mean, I'm pounding down on it. Like I said though, it might not even be because of what I'm saying or what I have to offer. It just might be because if I'm making this video, I'm not putting food in my mouth, and they're trying to save me from eating myself to death. That might be the reason of today. In which case, thank you. And I'm sorry, prophets, for your sacrifices for such a stupid product. But I want to make it good. I want to do the right thing. This is already a disaster, but I'm going to keep going. Because what I really have to pick up on, what am I forgetting? If I can get back to some of this stuff, I will. I still have this feeling. I still have this feeling that I can come back to finding the square root of something using rational trigonometry in a two-dimensional plane. Maybe I have to get into like three-dimensional planes where I'm like, but in a sense where I'm like, you know, relating them in this type of way, like in engineering drawings. So that's a possibility, but there might be, imagine like a triple or quadruple fraction where like, you know, because division, triple fractions are one of the most interesting things in the world because like triple multiplications, because if you have an A times a B times a C, no matter where you put your parentheses, you come up with the same thing. But if you have an A times a B times a C, if you put your parentheses around the A and the B, 9 times out of 10, you're going to come out with a different number fraction than if you put your parentheses around B and C, in which case division is non-commutative. So what if you constructed a arithmetic where the division itself was commutative but the multiplication wasn't, right? Seems like a super huge deal. Like the whole idea, like addition and subtraction, like they go back and forth. They're completely like, when you're dealing with multiple numbers, never mind variables, but just numbers. But when you're dealing with division and multiplication, one's commutative, one isn't. Depends where you put your parentheses. That kind of breaks arithmetic. A little bit. A little bit. How am I doing on time? 27 minutes. That means I got time to get to what I'm trying to get to, which has more to do. All right. Bear with me. Boy, you guys are gonna hate me for this one.
That was easy.
All right. I need something to write with, and I need something to wipe with. Write with and 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 wipe with. Alright, there's something to write with. There's something to wipe with. Pine Sol. Alright. That's some Euler shit right there. Just saying. Like, the Euler line, the quote-unquote geometry of the Euler line we understand normally is like a Cartesian thing, which doesn't have a Euclidean geometry. But what if the Euler line itself is actually the answer, is the geometry What if the Euler line of a 9/12 point circle is the Euclidean geometry? We're gonna get to this. Yeah, we're gonna get to this. Alright, so I need this. I need this. I need this. Now, if I put this here. So what? Just got a little bit to do here. Get shit right. Perfect. This was a painting I made about 20 years ago. I've never shown it before. Up close, originally I was gonna do 4 eyes. Like I drew, this was the only painting I ever made in water-based oils. Even though there's like quote-unquote water-based modified oils in like my painting career now. But like you can see, there are these little eyes here. But then like I modified it. It was back in the 90s when heroin chic was a deal. You know? It's like El Greco meets Garfield. Meets I don't know what, but anyway, in some sense it's like a self-portrait of my Jungian animus. I've never shown it before. It's one of my kind of favorite paintings. This was before I took any art school in college. My friend who was an architect major let me paint in his soon-to-be parent-in-law's unfinished house. As it turns out, well, okay. Am I gonna say this or not? Yeah, like anyway, his someday to be father-in-law was in jail for money laundering, or that's the story. But anyway, they eventually encouraged me to not be there, and eventually I meant like after 3 days. But anyway, this was the product, and well, I'm not sure if it's good, or I'm not sure which spirit it encourages, but I'm going to use its backside to encourage the good spirit today. I hope this works, because this has to do with what I've been talking about for my last several videos. Alright, I got 3 cigarettes, I can do this. I hope you can hear me. What we're talking about Gotta try. I got time. Don't give up. I got time. Don't give up. Oh. I'll try to do this backwards. I am. Period. Am I? Question mark. The first two statements of existence. I am that I am.
Also known as Louis the Great.
The Big Bang started with I am, or the Big Winter.
Famous for
The Big Bang or the Big Whimper started with I am.
In 1685, even a self-declared direct representative of God on Earth had questions.
The thing which propagated the universe was am I? Question mark.
Qing Dynasty in China. How big is it? How many people live in the capital? What can it teach us about music, culture, astronomy? So, in the spring of that year,
I am
members of France's Order of Royal Mathematicians on a voyage that would span 3 continents
equals
and 3 oceans. Their task, gather information that would satisfy the king's curiosity.
God. Am I?
It was a journey with numerous hardships and countless setbacks.
Equals.
But 5 years, 4 months, and 2 days later, Louis' answers finally arrived. In the grandest of human traditions, he had become curious, asked a question, and learned a new piece of information. Just like billions of people who had come before him, and billions who have come since. People who had access to cave walls, clay tablets, oracles, scrolls, books, the printing press, libraries, semaphore towers, telegraphs, the radio,
Am I equals free will.
the Betamax tape, and the short-lived French national internet system called Minitel. Which brings us to today. Fishermen looking at when tomorrow's tide comes in. Careful cooks wondering when the anchovies expire.
The best explanation and where it all came together for me
Friends settling a bet about which
was in the Nash equilibrium theorem,
Chopseeker with the move.
and I can't remember.
Looking at facts about the Qing dynasty or
I
history.
can't remember
Building
what text it was. It was on Google Books,
asking
but
trillions
where,
of questions in hundreds of languages.
and it's also
Expecting someone
noteworthy
to give
that,
answers in
you know, it
under
involved a lambda. Lambda, lambda, lambda.
Who would sign up for a challenge like that?
And it was basically the lambda, the lema is that God exists. The lema, L-E-M-M-A, or L-E-M-A, or whatever, was that God exists, the mathematical
Is claiming dominance.
equation of the way that God reacts to individuals
He knows a few things about search. That search.
was basically the explanation of free will. Like, why would
He'd try to convince you otherwise.
God intervene in your life?
20 years. But that's not where the story started.
So I was born in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania, and but at a very early age, my parents moved back to India to Bangalore, and there was a few books at home from my elder siblings, and that's the information I have access to, including I remember one own encyclopedia that I think my grandfather did my mom. It was really out of date. In fifth grade, I got my parents a bike. My parents thought I'd be really excited about, and a much better encyclopedia. And I was actually much more excited about the encyclopedia. This is where geeks come from, than the bicycle. And my parents didn't know what to do with this. When I look back at how we found information, it was so dramatically different from today. When my mother was growing up, where there was not given access to a good library, you would have just accepted the fact that you didn't have the information and that's the way it was going to be. When I was growing up, for some time, there was a decent library, but you should have taken this bus that took about an hour, you'd look things up in a card catalog, that took time. Now today, we measure in fractions of a second the time it takes for you to get information. I think that reduction in friction is absolutely dramatic because it can enable people around the world to have equal access to information. It's not just that people in some places who have access to the best libraries, everybody should have access to the highest quality information. So
This is a
that's
video
not
on search,
and I
Google
think the
search.
fundamental human
But
need
Google search
to
is a
understand the world around us, to know more about the world around us, is the
right, and the
heart
Google
of
search is an
the
algorithm,
world.
Algor.
Still so excited 20 years later.
How to find things, but it's a,
So, in the early days, I wondered.
you know, people call it like a carbon copy of like the natural, spiritual, electromagnetic world. But it's a good thing.
But halfway up the staircase, there's a small neon sign that said.
Let me explain.
So that's when I knew. And it generally felt completely chaotic. And Jeff was there. Jeff is also brilliant.
Yeah, we were a very small company, maybe about
God.
5 people. We were all kind of wedged into this second
God.
floor area in downtown Palo Alto.
I am.
An office with Forrest Hooksrud.
Urs was in charge of all of engineering. And
I am.
I don't think I knew how to pronounce his name. But he put the three of us named Ben in one office, just so people would go and walk by and say, hey, Ben.
Yes, we had the Ben pen. I think it was pure coincidence. My first reaction to Google was, I have no idea what search is, so it's probably not for me. But then I was intrigued by the problem. It was clear that there was some real value there, because without sort of really good ranking, all that growth of the web would be wasted if nobody could actually find the things that were looking for.
So one of the core aspects of search is how do we rank results and how do we find the most relevant information. So a lot of people work on that. You get really good stuff from this one.
I am. First statement. Am I? There's nothing. You're God. You're God. There's nothing.
Head of search ranking.
And then one day,
His personal motto.
I am.
Before
And there you are alone, as God.
artificial
As
intelligence.
God, there you are alone.
Yeah, we built an
There's no one else. There's nothing else. There's no other God. There's no people. There's nothing.
a spacecraft
I
from
am.
Deep Space One. Really the most exciting thing that
Second
has ever
question.
happened in my life.
Am I? That's free will.
I oversee the ranking team.
Am I is the
So
omega.
ranking is important because if you
I
simply
am is the
return
alpha.
the million pages that match your search query, that's not particularly helpful.
We are
So we need to
created
rank the pages
as
that
independent
you find
units
useful.
of free will
Hopefully these are at the top of
to
the
answer that
list.
question for God.
We're really trying
That's
to
where
bring
we are
information
to be the
to
good
world at
parents
large.
of God.
And we
So I'm
need
just
this
going to
to
say it
people
true. I got to get better at
day-to-day
saying it
life.
true.
I feel really
What I want to
lucky
do, one of the things I want to do, and I'm a horrible Christian,
this mission.
and if I'm a Christian, and it's
Let's go back a bit.
this is a Lima, but
1999.
if I'm a Christian,
300 and something.
I'm a St. Thomas.
That's
I'm a Thomas the Doubter.
And these two guys.
I wouldn't say proudly,
who are
but
about to become
definitively.
something so big. In their
Like it or
matching
lump it.
polo shirts.
That's me. Because there are many with that claim that I've met. Certainly one with that claim.
20 years later, bigger stage.
And the one with that claim has so many more disciples that can be comprehended.
So what does this actually mean?
Apostles, disciples, I don't know the difference. And I don't know their names. Do you?
To me, the most important piece is
I'd like to say, I dare you to find them.
billions of web pages.
Dear prophets, I'm not talking to you. Please take it easy on
Through
me.
that and to really give you what you are
But I'm
looking
trying to
for.
say what you in your positions can't or won't,
And then the next part is the world's
and
information.
that I might say it
So
in my
information
position.
means really anything. You know, it started
This
off
am I
with
is this
web
question of
pages.
free will, but we've chosen wrong. Why have we chosen wrong?
Physical books that we need to scan, or maps that we build on every place on Earth. That's information too, and it's not web pages. It's the kind of stuff that we organize today.
Merry Christmas.
And then I think that word universal is important.
And there you have a
Universal
pot
is
roast,
for everyone.
some honey ham,
See,
some leg of lamb.
here,
And it's even got the turkey colors.
accessible,
Sky blue, indigo,
We might be
Indy,
people who come to
India,
work in t-shirts and,
go,
and desperately
turkey.
want haircuts and things like that.
Thanksgiving,
They may not look super serious, but
turkey,
we know how much people want
Thanksgiving,
violence.
turkey the country.
And we take that mission really, really seriously.
The name for turkey
So, it sounds like the mission
In
is
Turkey
really important to these folks.
is Hindi,
But here's
which
another
points back to
question.
India.
So,
The Magi, the three wise men from the east, who came to Mary.
How search works.
How search works in a nutshell.
They were essential. We three kings of Orient far, na, 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 na.
cows.
Orientis reges tres.
This is one of the places where search happens. Search is a big piece of software that takes the words you type in here and looks for them here.
So, is Jesus an avatar? Yes.
They can do that because
Is he
first,
just
they can
another
copy
avatar?
the entire
Well,
list,
yes and no.
Scans it and makes a list of all the words and lists of all the pages.
Why did the Magi come for him?
It's like the
So that
index
he
of a
could
book, except
send his
10
progeny
times longer.
back where they came from. Who was his progeny?
Appears on 59
St.
million of
Thomas,
those pages. When you search
who
for
went back to
lasagna,
India.
the software puts these pages in
Thomas the
order,
Doubter.
with what it
who
hopes
needed
are most
proof.
useful at the top,
And what did he do?
and less useful at the
He
bottom.
went back to India and back to Hindu,
Most people search
Hindi,
for lasagna,
Turkey,
a recipe for lasagna.
Turkey,
Some people want
to
nutrition
fix
facts
what
for
was
lasagna.
wrong where they
And a few people
came from,
worry about the life and research of Louis C. Lasagna,
to fix the
They call him the
artificial caste system that is superimposed over the true caste system. Because the true caste,
where you live, whether the page was updated recently, how many other pages linked to that
the
page.
true caste are the prophets.
Other pictures.
People don't realize that the absolute highest powers on this planet sleep on park benches,
Mostly for things that are tougher to figure out than lasagna.
working grocery stores. The highest caste of the true hierarchy
There are many kinds of engineers and many different
occupy
teams that come
every
together to bring you the search
strata of life.
teams around the world. In many other countries, Europe, London, India, Japan, so on.
They don't sleep.
We have teams that are working on the
They occupy multiple times at the same time,
teams working on
multiple
the
spaces.
evaluation processes that make sure
Anyway.
the changes that are happening are good changes.
Free will.
And then there are
Eating
teams of
meat.
engineers who work
Why
on
did Jesus come?
They might examine the kinds of queries where we are
Jesus
not
came.
doing well today, and think about what are the kinds of techniques
This is
we could use
this is what has to be
enable
done.
us to do better in the future.
A vegan Christian movement. A vegan Christian movement will change the world like nothing else. Jesus came to save you from your sins, right? You know it, I know it, everybody knows it. Whether you believe in the mythology or not, that's the story.
It's a pretty complex product.
Why did he come to die for your sins? So that animal sacrifices, traditional animal sacrifices, am I still on?
Using a lot of mathematics, and then trying to bring them together into something more real,
The whole reason,
something that can actually be done into an
the whole reason Jesus came,
So behind the scenes,
as a story or as for real or whatever, huge effect in the world, undeniable.
at its most basic,
It's like coronavirus. Wherever it came from, it came.
that a computer follows.
You know, we're in the midst of coronavirus, COVID-19.
Just like there are different
Never mind that,
recipes for
but
different dishes, there are different algorithms for different
they
jobs.
say, oh, it came from China, it came from this, it was deliberate, it wasn't deliberate, it came from bats, it came from human manipulation, blah, blah, blah.
Cars park themselves.
But the fact of the matter is that here it is. Well, that's the same with Christianity. Why? Right. They're both here for the same reason, as it turns out.
Pictures, videos, and ideas that people have taken the time.
Never mind the fact, too, that they said, you know, the whole deal with the apocalypse, which is a revelation, not necessarily the end of the world, it's the end of the world as we know it, thank God. What is the end of the world as we know it? What is the absolute material, scientific, mathematical, shape, geometrical, Euclidean, Apollonian fact of the matter?
This thing is.
Stop killing animals.
This is the information that Google tries to organize.
There is no
The kind of information that
killing animals is part of the AMI. Killing animals. So let's pretend this circle is a sphere.
not the delicious kind, the bad kind.
And let's pretend, almost like Saturn, that there's this ring. Except this ring of AMI,
Is Kathy Edwards.
which is free will,
Trust.
is a one-dimensional
Basically means she deals with
disk, a one-dimensional perimeterial disk, one-dimensional perimeterial disk, even though it exists in two dimensions, it's a one-dimensional perimeterial disk. Am I? That's the question. That's free will.
about pages that use AI-generated nonsense text, hidden keywords, and hijack the
Where we made the wrong choices, where we've made the wrong choices in killing animals, killing vertebrates, is a hemorrhaging of this.
the kind of websites that we end up on.
That's the circle of life.
As quickly as possible,
The problem with the circle of life
because they're spam.
is that what we associate with the circle of life is where free will went wrong. There's a hemorrhage. And it's interesting that I'm talking about it because I have a certain like hemorrhage and herniation in my body at the moment, which is one of the things of the multiple things that I pointed to before that saying like, you gotta do this. And maybe it's just so I can have it on record and clarify my mind, but like if I wait till it's perfect, it'll never happen. But like we have these hemorrhages off this ring. So we've created these three-dimensional hemorrhages. And those are, man, I don't know if I'm gonna have time for this shit. I'm gonna keep going till it stops. Do I have time? All right, I'm at 56 minutes. Yeah. Anyway. I think, thought. Thinking. Thinking, thought. Thin, king. Fasting. Fasting and prayer. Yes, in gospel of peace. Do I prescribe to it? No. Do I aspire to it? Yes. but I'm in such bad shape. I'm always fearful that like I'm gonna die tomorrow. And it's like somebody's got to say something because nobody's saying enough about these things. But the free will that we have chosen, all this shit is killing the animal killing shit. These clouds of free will, which are so large and so agglomerated, like that's the witch black magic shit that I shouldn't say witch because that word harshes on women, and that's not what I mean. And also there's this discrepancy between like good and bad and like hate and anger. You know, Jesus was born in the manger, which is an M, anger, or a man, grr. Why is Jesus mad? Turned over the money tables. Why else is he mad? He's willing to give up his life, sacrifice himself, call upon God, why have you forsaken me? To kill himself, or let himself be killed by both his own people and his enemies, so that they will no longer slaughter animals in sacrifice. And you say to yourself as a meat eater, I don't sacrifice animals. On Christmas, which of these are you eating? On Christmas, which of these are you eating? Or on Easter, your Easter ham, your Christmas duck, right? The lamb's blood, St. Agnes, 300 AD. Never mind Anastasia with that big 300th anniversary. Anastasia, who in the movie was called Anya, and the Y, which is associated with the J, which is associated with the G. Agnes, daughter of Nicholas. St. Agnes, contemporaneous with St. Nicholas, and on and on. Never mind who the guy in that movie Rasputin looks like. Never mind when they topple the statue of Nicholas, who that looks like. This was made in 97, a few years later. Never mind when they jump off the bridge with the trains and the two trains falling down. And in the... I'll just let you look at the subtitles, the official subtitles. Figure it out for yourself, but... And I'm sorry for being that way about it. But this hemorrhaging, am I getting this? This hemorrhaging will disappear. It will be gone. So this is a powerful force. These are, see, this is the thing with Iamblichus. Like, Iamblichus is all of this. The Holy Ghost occupies this and this. The Holy Ghost stuffs all this shit back. Iamblichus allows, who was contemporaneous with St. Nicholas and St. Agnes, Iamblichus allows for all of this in philosophy. The Holy Ghost stuffs all this shit back. Because the I am that I am, or the I am I, question mark, is free will. Free will is what allows us our false choices. You know, when people talk about the circle of life and all this, but all this is God's nightmare. You can be a totally perfect, really great person, but because this exists, you will receive it psychically, and it will kill you. so many drunks, so many fucked up people, so many like drug addicts, like so many of the worst people in the world are really the best people in the world because they're so psychic and they can't deal with it and they don't know why. This is why. The reason why is because we have this huge hemorrhage, which could be called the devil. Not exactly, but kind of, sort of. The nightmares we have. The ocean is a perfect example. And I don't just mean this necessarily metaphorically, even though it is a sloppy metaphor. But there's power here. But it's temporal in a certain way. And it's temporal. God, I'm not going to be able to get to it. I'll pick up where I left off. I'm really, really sorry to the prophets and to my peers, which I feel like I don't have because I feel like I really am the dumbest person in the world. I'm sorry I didn't get there. I'll try to get there next time. I'll pick up where I left off.